CIA officials now believe Russia worked to influence this year's election in favor of President-elect Trump. The Trump transition team says in a statement, these are the same people that said Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. The election ended a long time ago. It is now time to move on.
The CIA briefed Congress last week, but didn't reveal its conclusion then. A bipartisan group of lawmakers is calling for an investigation of Russian hacking. Two of them are with us. Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer of New York is here in studio. He will become Senate Minority Leader next month. And Republican Senator John McCain of Arizona, the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, joins us from Phoenix. Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Good morning.
Senator McCain, let me start with you. We know that American spy and law enforcement agencies are united in the belief that Russia tried to influence and meddle in the election. But do you believe the CIA analysis that it was with a direct intent to try and elect Donald Trump?
I don't. I can't reach that conclusion yet, which is why we need a bipartisan effort to uncover the whole situation. And there's no doubt about the hacking. Let's establish that. I was hacked into. My campaign in 2008 was hacked into. So there's no doubt about the hacking. Then the question is about the intention. But it's all part of the larger issue of the cyber threat we face from Russia, China, and other countries. It's another form of warfare, and the entire issue is going to be examined by the Armed Services Committee because it's a threat to our national security.
Yeah, Senator, you made clear that you want the Armed Services Committee to look into hacking and certainly cyber espionage. But how will the congressional investigation be different from the presidential investigation, except that it will be bipartisan?
Well, I don't think it's going to be done in a month, and that's what this administration has left, to tell you the truth. But it's got to be bipartisan, and I'm frankly very appreciative that Chuck Schumer and Jack Reed, the senior Democrat on the committee, are all involved in this. We have a very bipartisan committee, believe it or not, in the Armed Services Committee.
It's a very good committee. It works in a bipartisan way. And look, we don't want to point a finger, and I don't want this to turn into a Benghazi investigation, which seemed, at least to many people, highly political. This is serious stuff. When a foreign power tries to influence our election or damage our economy, for that matter, this is serious. It's gotten worse. And a bipartisan investigation that's not aimed at one specific instance but looks at the broad scope of this is just what's needed. You have, the CIA saying one thing. I haven't gotten the briefings yet. I'm not yet minority leader. The FBI something else. We need to get to the bottom of this in a fair, nonpartisan, non-finger-pointing way.
How do you think the president is not willing to accept the fact that there was hacking by the Russians when the congressional committees, when all of the intelligence agencies say there was hacking by Russians?
I can't speculate about the president. I was very glad, and I spoke to John about this, that Reince Priebus on TV yesterday morning said that the president and he supported a bipartisan congressional investigation. That's good news. No one should try to sweep any facts under the rug. We'll see where the facts lead. We don't know yet. Once we get the facts, we'll make our conclusions. But to jump to conclusions or to say we don't need an investigation is so wrong, because the vital interests of our country are at stake. And this is something that should unite Democrats, Republicans, conservative, liberals, patriots, people who care about this country.
How did it come together, Senator Schumer, that the two of you are leading this effort together?
Well,
and what do you say to critics that say, listen, the Democrats are just looking for someone else to blame because Hillary Clinton lost his election?
That's why it should be bipartisan. And that's why a guy like John McCain leading it, I have a lot of faith in him. He's a man who has stood up for his principles.
He called you?
I called him yesterday morning and said, look, we should not have this degenerate into a political finger pointing. It's too serious. He agreed. We put out our statement. We called Jack Reed, good Democrat, Lindsey Graham, Republican. The idea that this should be bipartisan and fair and just interested, like Dragnet said, what was his name? Webb. Just the facts.
Jack Webb. Just the facts, ma'am.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Yeah.
But Senator McCain, you're asking for the Armed Services Committee, which you will head, to do the investigation, correct?
No, we'll also be working with Foreign Relations and Intelligence Committee. We'll be all working together, but it is a national security issue.
What's the risk here?
There's no doubt that Russians and others have hacked. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Now the question is the intention, but the larger issue that the Armed Services Committee and others are looking into is the whole issue of cyber, because it is an area where the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has said we do not have an advantage over our potential adversaries. That's the only form of possible conflict where our adversaries have an advantage over us. The whole issue of this issue has brought cyber, I think, to the position of importance that it's deserved.
This is, you know, a few years ago there was hacking, but people thought, oh, this is some random individual, American or overseas.
Right.
Now we're finding, we're pretty clear, it's governments behind it.
Right.
And it's not just the Russian government.
And it's not just the Americans, the Germans are saying they're worried about future.
Correct. So this is serious, serious stuff. The fact that there's an allegation, serious, that an election was tried to be influenced, we have to find out the answers.
Based on the briefings that both of you have seen, is there evidence that the Russians also hacked the Republican National Committee?
Okay, I haven't gotten the briefings yet because I'm not yet minority leader,
Senator
so I'll leave
McCain?
it to John.
I have not got that information. I don't have that information. But
Nora,
So I
that's
guess
why
the
we need
question,
an investigation.
the question I'm asking then, why would they hack just into the Democratic National Committee? What would be the goal
Nora,
of doing
we
that?
do not know what they have done. There's good evidence they hacked into the DNC. I've heard it secondhand.
Senator,
the people who have been briefed have told me this is serious and wide-ranging. Let's find out.
Let me ask one quick question. If Rex Tillerson is the nominee for Secretary of State, will he have a problem in being confirmed in the United States Senate?
Well, look, the bottom line is every one of these nominees, and particularly a guy like Tillerson, needs a thorough hearing. The one thing we will insist on as Democrats is it not be just a quick, 5 minutes to each person in one day. We're going to want thorough questions. He'll be questioned thoroughly should he be the nominee. And all of these allegations and talks about his closeness with Putin will come forward. But I can say this as the future minority leader, God willing, and that is, this has to be a thorough, we're not going to stand for a quick, you just ask your question, say hello, and he leaves.
Yes, there will be some follow-ups.
Lots.
All right. Thank you very much, Senator Schumer. And Senator McCain, always good to see you. Thank you, sir, joining us from Arizona today.
Thank you.